Hello and welcome to Queued Pixel. Today I'm continuing my software development work. I'm going to bring up my stream schedule here. My regular schedule is to stream on every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. That is why I'm here today at 9 a.m. My time zone is United States Pacific time, and I do software development streams at this time. Today I'm planning to continue work on my craps table chatbot that I build using Node.js. It connects to my Twitch channel. It actually connects to a chat room, not my normal stream chat, but to a separate chat room, so that way it keeps my stream chat available for you guys to talk with me. Let's go take a look at that. Let me finish going through my schedule here. So Sunday mornings today, starting at 9 a.m., that's my regular stream. I also will stream occasionally on weekday afternoons and evenings when possible. My schedule during the week is a little hard to predict, so it's tough for me to commit to a regular schedule during the week, but I do want to stream more when I can. My next scheduled stream will be on Sunday, July 7th at 9 a.m., 1 week from today. Let's hop in, take a look at my notes for my craps table chatbot and see where I'm at. Fatality. So last stream had to be a little bit of a short stream. I had something going on that afternoon, so I didn't have as much time to stream as I wanted. But what I did get done was to allow the bet command to be used from the scripting engine. So one of the things I've been working on is the scripting engine so that people can write their own kind of custom logic, a bot that plays craps, basically. And what I did is I allowed the bet command to be called from the scripting engine. So let's go ahead and give that a try here. I've been doing some playing while the stream is getting warmed up here. And I've been winning already. Yeah, so let's just do a quick test. And again, to get access to the chat room, you need to go to the rooms drop down up here. Normally you're in stream chat, you want to click on the craps room in order to join the room where the craps bot is. If you don't want to chat with me in chat, join stream chat and I'll chat with you there as well. Alright, so we've got this eval statement here, craps eval bet pass max. So it's basically passing this command, the bet pass max, into the scripting engine. And we can see that rather than getting the response in the chat room where it says the bet was made, normally you can see, that's what the normal response is. That actually sent it to my console window instead. It said info bet made $98. So that's a scripting engine, and that works. Now the thing I want to start with today is to allow for multiple statements to be evaluated. So I have kind of this concept of separating your statements by semicolons. So you have statement 1, semicolon, statement 2, semicolon, as many statements as you want. And I got an example here we could test that places a hop bet for the max amount on all of the hard ways. So the hopping hard 1-1, hopping 2-2, hopping 3-3, 4-4, 5-5, 6-6. So hard 2, hard 4, hard 6, hard 8, hard 10, and hard 12, box stars. Now this does not work if I punch this in right now. It will not do anything. And in fact, if I go look at... Actually, I guess what happens is my bet command ignores excess parameters. So all this stuff is excess parameters. And so it supported the first bet, the hop 1-1. But ignored everything else. So that's kind of the issue, is I want to allow support to process not just the first command here, but all of the commands. So let's go open up the code and take a look. First, let me clear out the stuff I got done last time so I can start making notes for what I get done today. Got some junk up in here. There it is. Yeah, we want to go to Twitch craps bot. Just had to remind myself where I was going here. And we have craps table, but I want to go to our scripting engine because this is what's going to control the parsing of those statements. So we have process scripting command. Actually, let's see here. We have process command. Yeah, so eval is how we're able to process commands right now. This is kind of the debugging feature I've added. And I don't have kind of scripting yet. And so eval is going to be the way we do our testing. And so this goes to eval command. And what does that do? Eval command goes to process scripting command. And process scripting command is what does the actual work. And so yeah, I think eval command, we probably want to update this. At least for now. I'm thinking in the future we'll probably have a more general eval function. But for now, this is the right place to do this, I think. And so one of the things I want to do is kind of add in more debugging for what's being processed and whatnot. And so we could say things like, let's see, do I have a debug statement? We have info. Info error. Let's call this debug. Let's create a new debug message. Debug message. And the prefix for this will be debug dash. Let's just say this.debug message. Oh, come on. Now we're going to give it username. And let's see, we want it to be evaluating full statement. Actually, we'll call this a compound statement. And then we'll do a plus command data. And so what this will do is just dump out the full statement, or the compound state we're about to evaluate. I'll just do a full statement. And we'll call it a compound statement. Evaluating compound statement. See if our work is done here. Let's see, so I lost my $3 and we're just waiting for the point to get resolved. And I'm going to bring up my util class because there's going to be some examples here that we're going to want to work with here. Let's just grab this. So var splits, we could say statement is equal to value, in this case it's command data, dot split based on semicolon. And this will basically give us every string that is separated by semicolons. I don't have any. Yeah, here we have a for each here. Let's just grab the for each as well. Call it statements dot for each. Say statement is equal to statement.trim, so we can clear out any lead and a trailing white space out of that. Not that it really matters, but it'll be nice for debugging, printing purposes. And let's see, I don't think we need any of this here. But I do want this. Evaluating single statement. In this case, instead of command data, we want statement. And here we want to pull this up into this loop. This process scripting command username instead of command data, it is statement. And if I did everything right, that should be it. So basically we print out the full compound statement we're about to evaluate. We split based on semicolon. Then for each statement that we pull out of that split, we trim trailing, lead in a trailing white space. We print it out again. We're printing out that we're evaluating the single statement, and then we process the statement. And I'm wondering if I want to print out anything here when we actually process the command, but here we have print. Print just prints out what you specify. External process scripted command, that goes to our craps table, and that will either say the bed is placed or give you an error. So I don't know, I think we're okay. I think we have, here's the statement we're evaluating, and then we'll see the results of that evaluation. So I think we're fine there. Let's give it a try. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, so we've wrapped up our current session there. So let's give this another try. So this is our test case to see if we can place a hop bit on all 6 hard options. This is going to result in a lot of debugging information, but that's good for testing here. Oh. We ran into a bug. Scripting line 80, this debug message is not a function. Pretty sure it is a function. I'm pretty sure I added it, but let's see what I did here. Debug message. You know, it's possible we're in a weird context here. I would have assumed we're in the correct context, but maybe we're not. This debug message is not a function. Anonymous. Process command, eval command. Okay, well, let's just see where we're at here. See what this is in this context. That'll indicate what might be going on here. I'll try this one more time. Trucking. Didn't crash that time, that's fine. So wow, we've got a lot of stuff that's being printed out here. A lot more than I would have thought. Jeez. What the heck? Console, global process. There's This looks like some sort of global context. Normally when I print out this, I get just the class that I'm in. Okay, well, clearly something's gone wrong with my context. Now let's keep that just for the moment. Function. I think we can do a dot bind on this, or is it, let's see, how does... Might have to go, the dot bind might have go down here, I think. Dot bind on this. Let's see what that does. All right, great. So we have external process scripting command, function bound, process scripting command, process command, process scripting command, eval command, print command, debug message. So there it is. And it looks like that gets printed multiple times because, yeah, we're in a loop. Oh, that's why we got so much output, because I put that in a damn loop. Okay, so that bind seems to have fixed, at least give us the right context. Let's see if we now get the output that we would expect. Ah, there we go. So we have evaluating compound statement. There's the full statement I passed in. Then we have evaluating single statement. Bet hop 1 1 max. Single statement 1 2 2 3 4 5 6. So all those bets were made. If I now ask it craps bets, I should be able to confirm that all of those bets have been made in my name. Nice. Let's come up with a commit message for this here. Let's review the code first. All right, so we've added a debug message function. So allows us to print out those debug statements. And all these debug messaging functions are eventually going to make it so that the messages aren't printed immediately, but are again instead be logged and be queryable. But while we're still in the development phase, I obviously want all this stuff to go to the consoles to diagnose issues as they come up. But for a fuller release, I'll want to kind of hide some of that stuff until it's needed. All right, so instead of calling process scripting command directly on the command data, first we log it. We log the evaluation of the compound statement. We split based on semicolon. Then for each statement we pull out, we trim it, we log it as a debug statement evaluating single statement, then process the statement. We need to do a bind on this anonymous function here so it has access to the debug message function. Let's just see if this all worked here. Alright, so I rolled a 4, a soft 4, and I lost my 18 bucks. Great, so that appears to be working. Excellent. Let's come up with a commit for this here. Support evaluation of multiple statements separated by semicolons. Looks good. All right, let's go take a look, see what is next here. Yeah, I think it's time to start thinking about simple expressions in our evaluations. So like we have this concept of kind of system-defined variables, die1, die2, die total. All this stuff here. I have kind of an example case of being able to print out the result of the first die roll. Let's just try this test case and see what it does. Oops, let's actually bring up our console window and try this case out. Yeah, so right now, here's the command I typed in. Evaluate a compound statement, evaluate a single statement, looks good. And then we print out this die1 with 0 evaluation on this portion here, because obviously we haven't built that up. And so my thought is we want to look for those curly brackets and start evaluating their contents. So let's take a look. Let's see, probably what will help for some of this is to create an eval statement function. So let's go ahead and do that now. Username, statement. Let's put this after eval command because I like eval command to be part of this process command structure here. Eval command, print command, error message. Actually, no, it's probably time to just do, let's put it here. Let's grab this guy. Put it here. Let's see, let's call this evaluate compound statement. Eval compound statement. Compound statement. Let's see, I think everything else here looks good. For the moment. What I actually want to do is call this.eval statement the bind's gotta have to go in here somewhere, I think. I think it goes like this, dot bind on this. It feels like really weird syntax. Let's remove the bind for the moment and actually no, because we don't actually pass in a variable this way. We just do that because the for each will pass the variable into this function. So I think that is the correct formatting there. Oh, I just deleted the stuff I wanted to paste into here. There we go. Let me take a step back here. Let's see here. Because what I think I want to do is move those guys into here. Say this dot eval statement. I think that'll be better. Because I don't want to put the trim into this guy. I want to assume that the statement is already trimmed by the time we get it, so I'll just do it here. That should be okay. Alright, so we have eval compound statement, eval statement. Then eval command, I think we could just turn around and call this dot eval compound statement. And I don't like these one-liner wrap functions, but this allows me to use an appropriate name for this function, and allow me to put this function and use a proper naming scheme for this function, put it in the right spot, because we have kind of this pattern we've been developing. We have these process command functions, and then they call all of these, these blank command functions. So I think that'll work. Just gonna have this one-liner wrap, that function wrapper that I'm not too thrilled with, but I think it's okay, because it allows us to meet all of our other kind of standards that we're working with. But all of this, none of this actually gets us to where we need to be. So let's just remind ourselves of our example here. This is kind of the test case that we're working with. We have to print out the result of that first die. So in this case, that last die result was 3, 4, so the first die would be 3. We want to say result is, now that doesn't really matter in this context because it's dependent on what the last die result was. And so what we want to do is look for these opening brackets, look for a corresponding close bracket, and then evaluate everything in the middle. Let's just bring up some JavaScript documentation here. JavaScript string index of. -1 if the value to search for never occurs. So he returns the first occurrence, so that's good. So if we have multiple occurrences here, in fact, let's make it a more elaborate case here. And we'll say die1 is that, die2 is that. Die total is... Well, let's just deal with the first two. We can have this be the more elaborate case here. When we start implementing addition. Right now we're just doing pure variable lookups. We're not even there yet. We're still even parsing, just looking for these guys here. So let's give this a try. Or not give it a try, but put in our more elaborate use case here. So in this case, we need to support multiple possible expressions to show up in here. Let's put this up. Say var bracket start is equal to statement dot. Let's see, it looks like index of see how far to get to welcome. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That'd be my guess. Doesn't actually show me the results, so let's try it ourselves. Yeah, 13. Okay, so my guess was correct. So when it's statement.index of opening bracket okay, let's just handle the one case right now. We'll deal with the multiple cases in a second. So if we assume there's just one case, or we'll handle just the first case, we'll say if bracket start is, say, I think it returns -1 if it's not correct. So let's do that. Welcome X. Try it. -1. Yeah. So if it's greater than 0. Greater than or equal to 0, then we know that the bracket exists. So now let's say var bracket n is equal to statement dot index. Now, what are some possible errors we might run into if bracket end is less than 0? We want this dot error message Let's see, username. Missing closing bracket. Let's see, if bracket end is less than bracket start, oops, bracket end is less than bracket start, see, it's not missing closing bracket, it is, well, we're missing our opening bracket. Because here we have some possible error cases. Error cases. You have things like, print die1. You're missing the start, missing the end, getting them backwards. So the first one we don't handle yet. The second case, we have the opening bracket but no closing bracket. That would be this case here. The third case, we have a opening bracket, or sorry, we have a closing bracket before we get to the opening bracket. And so here we can say just missing opening bracket. For the first case, we have no opening bracket, so we need to kind of do a additional check here. Say bracket end is equal to that. And if bracket end is greater than or equal to 0, let's see, we're missing opening brackets. So I don't actually do any processing on this yet, but let's just make sure that, let's say this.debug message, come on, debug message username, brackets found. We'll probably want to print out what we found at some point, but just for now, I just want to make sure that we got here without any errors. Yeah, so let's give our error cases a try and see what happens here. Nope, doesn't like something here, unexpected token. Oh, I need a check here. If it's greater than or equal to 0. Oh, I actually need to do craps eval print. Do not read property index of undefined. Okay. Not quite what I would have expected. Where are we at here? This is line 60. Let's see, I didn't pass in username into this guy. Let's go ahead and fix that. Statement, username. That's why we need to use this rather than call it directly from the for each, because the for each won't know how to pass in the username. That's why I can always pass that in with a binding statement, but I think I prefer this approach. So I'll give this another try. Let's go fix up our tests. Craps eval. I'll add the craps eval portion to that, so I can just copy paste the whole thing without having to think about it too hard. Good cases. And we're just working on this. Well, we're working on the errors right now, but I think the first case we're going to work towards is this very first one with just one example. Once we get that working, we can start working on multiple evaluations. All right, let's try this first one again. All right, evaluate a compound statement, a single statement. Missing opening bracket. Excellent. So we probably don't want to do a print in that case. So let's yeah, I need to do returns on these. All right. Found. Otherwise we get to this case and we need another return here. Now let's just try these one more time here. Yeah, so missing opening bracket, no calls to the print command, excellent. And we'll try this one. Missing closing bracket with no print, excellent. And finally we'll do the inverse. And again, missing opening bracket. Excellent. So there's really basic cases there. Oh yeah, so we also we need our sample case, our good case. Let's also test that as well. Brackets found, and then we still do the print because there's no actual error at that point, but we still don't do any actual evaluation of the expression. Now let's do expression found, colon. Then we probably want to do like a var expression is equal to we need to do like a substring. Let's see what substring we use. Just the full substring. let's just look up the documentation on that guy. JavaScript sub the full function. Between the start and end of the indexes or the length of the string. So Mozilla 1,3 turns everything between 1, so it includes 1. And 3, so two guys there. All right. So I think in our case, we could say statement.substring bracket start bracket end. Let's see what that does. Grab our first good case here. That's only the one expression. Expression found, die 1. Okay, so we're missing the closing statements. Which I think ultimately I do want, but I was expecting to get that, so let's add a +1 here for now, just so we can make sure we get that. Make sure my assumptions are true. There we go, expression found, die 1, the full expression. Of course, we want just the expression, not the actual brackets, so let's reverse this. And let's do a +1 over here. That should allow us to get just those expressions now. Alright, great, so we get it. We now have an expression we can evaluate. So what we probably need is an expression evaluation engine. Yeah, let's just add this guy. Copy paste this. We'll have it be the eval expression. Pass in the expression to evaluate. And let's debug. You'll log what we're evaluating here. Evaluating expression. Won't actually do anything yet. What we could do is return not working yet. Say var result is equal to this. Say eval evaluates 2. I can say result return result. So we're just getting kind of the basics here. So we'll have, we log what we're evaluating. We determine what the result is. Right now we do nothing. We just say not working yet. Then we log what the result is and return the result. And it's up to the caller to figure out what to do with that result. So let's think through what to do with the result now. We'll say var result is equal to this dot eval expression. All the login is already taken care of. And so what we want to do is do a string substitution in the string. And I'm not sure damn it, I'm not sure how that works. So there's a replace. The sum or all matches of a pattern replaced by replacement. A pattern is a string only the first occurrence will be replaced. Okay, let's try this. It's just a very simple case here, so we'll say statement.replace. Let's see, we want to give it the opening brackets plus expression plus closing brackets. Then we want to replace that with result. Let's give that a try. Let's go grab in my success case, my simple success case. Oops. Can't paste that into my console. It doesn't make any sense there. Alright, so we have evaluate cop-out statement, evaluate single statement, evaluate expression dia1, result not working yet. But we haven't actually substituted anything there. Let's take a look and see what happened. Statement.replace. Oh, that actually might return a new string, not change the existing string. Let's look at the documentation. The original string is left unchanged, so yep, I need to do statement is equal to that to actually change it. Let's try that one more time. Alright, so there we go. So we have our statement. Print dia1 and the dia1 parameter or variable. We obviously don't implement that yet, but what happens is an expression dia1 result not working yet, and then we substitute the dia1 with that. Probably what we want to do is have a except that it says the pre-evaluation statement and then the post-evaluation. Let's just add something towards the end here. Just trying to see what I would say in these two messages here. We have evaluated a single statement. Say start. I'm gonna finish. See what that does. All right, evaluate a single statement start, print die1, evaluate a single statement finish, print die1, colon, not working yet. And then here's the actual print. Excellent. So we're having a lot of debug information, but if people run into errors with their programs or their scripts, this will allow them to see exactly what's happening and hopefully be able to debug it. All right, what's next? Let's look at multiple expressions to evaluate. Let's use this as our next test case and see where we get here. Yeah, so the first evaluation works, the second evaluation does not. So we need a simple loop here. And we can start with, say, var expressions remain. Set that equal to true, and then say while expressions remain. Start doing some stuff. Let's just dump this whole thing into here. Say expressions remain equals false. Actually, we could probably simplify this. Let's go if bracket start is greater than equal to 0. Well, the else on that. Yeah, so we could go here, say expressions remain is equal to false. We have no more expressions. Otherwise, we keep it at true. I probably want to start adding in more error cases here. We'll do the same case as before. We have no opening statement. Actually, let's paste this in 3 times. We have no opening bracket. We have no closing bracket, and then we get the 2 inverted. So the first one should be fine, but the second one will be broken. Then we'll have our final good case. And so yeah, let's just try this and see if this basic loop is enough to handle it. We'll try our first error case. Let's see, what we might want to do here is let's add something like this here. After expression evaluation. And let's drop this guy. So each time we do a substitution, we will now print out the new statement, so we can see how that slowly gets built up as each variable gets replaced. And that'll make this error, missing opening bracket, a little more, make a little more sense here. So let's try this again. After expression evaluation, print die1 not working yet, comma, die2 colon, die2 without the opening bracket. Now let's try the second error case. The opening bracket but no closing bracket. Missing closing bracket, excellent. And now let's try the third error case. Excellent, yeah, so I just wanted to confirm that this wasn't getting substituted, and that appears to not be the case. It is working the way we would expect. So great, let's go try our final success case. So evaluate compound statement, evaluate single statement, evaluate expression, result not working it after evaluation, print die1 not working yet, comma die2, colon die2, evaluating expression, die2, result not working yet after expression evaluation, die1 not working yet, die2 not working yet. So perfect, we have this simple evaluation here. And so what we're missing is this guy. This line obviously needs some work. So we need to get access to some variables. These variables are inside our craps table class. And so we have a couple choices. We can either build in a function to query for variables, similar to how we've built in a external scripting command function. We override this function to process scripting commands. We could build in like an external variable reference or something and allow the craps table to override that to then return the variable evaluation. We could have the craps table pass in or otherwise set a series of variables inside the craps table. We could create like a I guess a class with name value pairs that would have all the variables in it. If it did that, we'd have to pass that in to this guy, this function, this process command. And then that would have to pass it into eval and everything else. No, I think that's a mess. You can certainly have a function that allows you to set it and then persist it in the class. And some of these things are going to be per user basis. Like, let's look at some of the variables I'm looking at adding here. I got a list of them here. Oh, see, a init, that's going to be a scripting thing. This is to say true when the program is being initialized, false otherwise. So that's going to be a scripting variable. Die1, die2, die total, those are variables controlled by the craps table, and point as well. You know, these are all controlled by the craps table. Balance is also controlled by the craps table, and balance delta, both are controlled by the craps table, but they're on a per player basis. So let's define scripting variables. Global craps variables. Oops, that's not global. But max payout and firebread allowed would be debating firebet allowed. This is basically if you're allowed to bet the fire bet, which might be false if you've already made it, which would make it a per user variable, but I think I'm going to keep it a global variable and not worry if the user's already made it. Then we have per user craps variables. So these will be dependent upon the user who is checking their value. Then we have user-defined variables, which were not there yet. So we're looking just at the global craps variables for right now. We might have per user variable. Well, we will have per user variables eventually. Amount to the user's balance has changed up or down as a result of the last die roll. And that may not be important. We'll see. I have a thought for how I might use that in one of the scripts I'm thinking of, but we'll see. So I think for now we're only thinking of the global craps variables. I think what I want to do is create a variable reference function. External variable reference. To process variable references. Username, var name. Let's return null as default for this. We'll use null to indicate that the variable does not exist. Eval expression, evaluate an expression. Var result is equal to that. So note how we're just assuming that all these expressions are going to be simple variable references, and as soon as we start adding in plus signs, use simple arithmetic and whatnot, this is going to break. But we're not supporting that yet. So we're just taking a shortcut right now and just supporting basic variable references without any expression evaluation. So result is equal to that. And if result is equal to null, let's see, let me do I think I might need to do like an is null comparison in JavaScript. JavaScript is null. Don't know what's going on with my internet connection here. My stream is stable. I'm not seeing any drop frames, so I'm not sure why this is not coming back real fast. So if it's equals null, syntax null. Looks like there is no is null, but we could do it equals null. So no type conversion on that. So if result is truly null, then we have a problem. So here's where my error handling is beginning to run into some issues. And in fact, this is not the first time I've hit this particular issue. First time I've noticed it. So we have kind of this error handling approach where if I run into an issue, I print an error message and then I return. But here we're evaluating a statement. So let's actually undo my current work here just to demonstrate why we have an issue and to think what we want to do about it. So let's just come up with a simple support or a simple test case here. Let's grab this guy. Do craps eval. Let's bet a pass for max. and then print. Actually, this is broken. So this, we actually, yeah, so we have I'm not sure what to do about this, because we have, so what'll happen here is it'll evaluate this first statement, bet pass max, and make the bet. And then we'll evaluate this, realize we're missing a closing bracket, and have the error. Print out the error and return and stop processing. Now the issue I was noting is we have a case here. Let's reverse this and say this is also broken. Let's just see what this looks like. I have to rerun everything, make sure everything's running the latest version here. Yeah, so what's happening? I've got a weird little extra statement in here. So I have an extra error that I wasn't planning on. That'll also help to demonstrate what's going on here. So we're evaluating the compound statement, bet pass max, print this is broken, empty statement, print this is also broken. Bet made, evaluate single statement, print this is broken, missing closing bracket, there's our error. Evaluate single statement, it's empty, error, no command specified. Evaluate single statement, print this is also broken, missing opening bracket. And I won. Excellent. All right, so the issue I was thinking of is it might make sense to throw an exception when we encounter an error. So that way simply stop processing everything altogether. So that way, the second we hit this bug, or this error here, then we stop evaluating anything else. Of course, right now, we continue to evaluate and continue to run into more errors. Now, the trouble that I'm thinking of that I'm not sure how to solve yet is we've already evaluated and processed this first statement that was error-free. And so do we want the fact that this fails to cause us to not do this at all? And plus, do we want the fact that this fails to not process this? I think for the first case, this is to not process this. If this fails, I think that's an unreasonable request. Because this might fail because of something this did. So we won't know that this will fail until after this gets processed. And plus, we'd have to look at the entire statement, do all the expression substitutions, make sure that all that works, and then execute the statements. And again, some of these later statements may depend upon things done in earlier statements. So no, I think if for this case, if this succeeds but the second or subsequent statement fails, I'm not going to try to do anything to cause the first statement to not execute. We're not doing a SQL engine. We're not implementing transactions with rollbacks and commits and all that. It's like, once this is processed, it's done. If this subsequently fails, then that's on you. Make sure your stuff works. So the next question is if this fails, do we also want to stop processing the rest of these statements? Bear in mind that these might fail for really weird reasons, like the past or the betting stuff. You know, we have an error that gets thrown if you make a bet, or it's not thrown. I'm not taking exceptions yet, but we have an error that's generated if you make a bet that already exists. Let's see if we can find the code here. Here it is. You've already made this bet. Make it a user message. I think the true means it is an error. Let's just test it, see if it shows up as an error or not here. So we have craps eval bet pass max. Actually, let's just test this. We'll do it like this. Eval bet pass max. Actually, we don't need a second eval. So we have evaluate a SQL statement, best max, bet made for 99, and then yep, it is an error. So error, you've already made this bet. And so I can imagine someone doing a simple script may attempt to make the same sets of bets on every single iteration and not check to see if those bets already exist. And so an error like this, I don't think we want to stop evaluation of the entire thing. And so I think my thought, going back to this question here, so we know if this succeeds, we don't want to roll it back. We know if this fails, we don't want to roll back anything that previously occurred. And I think at this point I'm also saying if this fails, we don't want to stop evaluation of anything that comes afterwards. So I think that's my thought process there is, for any error that occurs, we'll need to stop whatever it affects. For example, when we're evaluating statements, let's go back to my statement evaluation code. Where is it? If we're evaluating a statement and we have an error with brackets, we stop evaluation of that statement, but this will still continue the multiple expression or multiple statement evaluation loop and move on to the next command or next statement. And I'm fine with that. And so the issue is, how I started this whole discussion is if I'm evaluating an expression and I'm really evaluating a variable and the result is null, what do we do with that? And my thought was to do error handling here. But this is not the place to do it, because we can't actually stop the evaluation here unless we do something like throw an exception. And so I was just thinking through, do we want to use exceptions here to roll back the entire call and basically kill all remaining evaluations? And my answer to that is no, I do not want to kill those remaining evaluations. And so I'm going to do, let's uncomment this again. I'm going to say no error handling here. We're just going to return result, whatever it may be. And if it is null, indicating a failed expression, then that's what it is. We just return it. It's up to the caller to figure out what to do with that. I might change my mind about this in the future, but I think for right now, with all the assumptions I've made, I think that is a good choice. So right now we have no error handling on that, so let's continue to just see what happens. I have a guess. I just want to see what the result is at this point. So I should have my error cases. Actually, we've already verified the error cases. We're done with error cases. Yeah, so what's going to happen now is we don't have a way to evaluate die 1 or die 2. In fact, let's make this nice and simple. So we have just one case to process for now. Let's just see what this does. External variable reference is not defined. We're on script name line 107. Oh, I need to be this dot. My bad. Alright, so we have evaluate expression, die 1, result is null after expression evaluation, print die 1 null. That is what I expected, so JavaScript is doing a toString on null, converting that to the string literal null. And that seems fine. That's kind of what I want. Yeah, so we have our result here. So yes, if we have var result is equal to null. Oops. If, oh, what I'm thinking here. We want an error and a return. So let's just grab divided expression. We know that eval expression will print out the expression and will probably print out even more details about what would happen. In fact, we should probably just go add those details now. So if result is equal to null, we could say unable to find variable plus expression. But here we don't want to return. Where do we? Yeah, I probably don't want to print out null here. We'll just return null. I think that's good. Let's give that a try. So grab our healthy case, or good case, that now is going to fail because we have no expression evaluation or no variable reference evaluation. So the bug, evaluate compound statement, print die 1, single statement. Evaluate expression, die 1, able to find variable, die 1. Failed to evaluate expression. And then that stops. Now if I have multiple things in here, it should just fail on the first and stop everything else. Yep, same thing. We try to evaluate die 1. We get there. We can't find it. We stop. Let's go look up our healthy cases. Yeah, here's our healthy cases here. Let's see, let's bet field for max. So we have pass for max and field for max. Alright, so we have go to compound statement, there's the whole thing. Bet pass max, bet made. This is broken, prints that. This is also broken, prints that. Bet field max, bet made 33, excellent. So let's just do something that's not so broken so we can have a better test case here. Let's grab this. Let's go give this a try. Roll a 5. And we lost $33. No. Alright, so let's look at this again here. So, here we've already made this bet because we still have a pass bet. We've got a single statement. Can't find a variable die 1. Failed to evaluate expression. Evaluating single statement, bet field max, bet made. So that all is looking nice and healthy there. All right, so what's next? So we have our Let's close this out. We don't need that any longer. Clean some of this up here. So we need to start doing some variable handling. External variable reference, username expression. Yeah, so let's start looking at this guy. We have an example here. So open up the craps table and see how we managed that here. So external process scripting command. We have external variable reference. Probably just want to have like a variable reference guy. Let's see where this guy goes. Process scripting commands. Process command cooldown. Display leaderboard. Where to do variable references? Timers here, roll timers, craps timer, check banker. Yeah, maybe here. We'll call it alarm line 209. Let's see what we want to do with this here. So external variable reference, maybe scripting variable reference. Scripting variable reference, username, var name. Process scripting, maybe handle scripting variable references. We're line 210. I think I want to do a similar to our scripting thing, like a case statement for that. Let's just grab the name of that function one more time. Just grab this whole thing. I think line 210 is what I said. Let's see. So we have this length check on command. It would be var name in this case. I don't think that matters. That it probably doesn't even matter for the other case. We'll switch on var name. In case die1, return still don't have die1 ready yet because we don't have a variable where we can reference it. We need to start preserving those. And then at the very end, if we don't find the variable, we can just return null. So I think that'll work. Now let's update our init to add this. It's scripting variable reference. Where is my init? There it is. So scripting dot external variable reference is equal to this dot that. And apparently we need to bind this to it. So that should be enough to reference die1. Let's test that, see if that's enough to actually reference it here. Alright, so we bit pass max, which we do. Validate expression result to do die1 after expression print die1 colon to do die1 die2 die2 and expression able to find variable able to value expression. Yeah, so that continues to look correct there. Let's also add in on line 210 again, or whatever it is now, 214 die2. Just so we can finish this evaluation and not have those errors show up. so I should have a print. Here it is. Die1 colon to do. Die2 colon to do. What we need now is the die values to be preserved. Say die1 colon 0, die2 colon 0. And we process a roll. So preserve the die values. This dot die1 is equal to die1. This dot die2 is equal to die2. So I should now preserve them so that we can now query them. And in line 210 or 214 now, I guess, we return die1, die2. And now we should have enough to finish and successfully execute this statement. I rolled a 10, I won $32. Yes! Yeah, so let's restart and try this again here. Die1 is not defined. Oh. This needs to be this dot. Yeah, so die1 is 0, die2 is 0, because we don't have dice yet, because we haven't rolled anything. So that's kind of the unique case. Until we roll any dice, those will return 0. I could set it to say, well, I can't set it to null because we use null to indicate a variable is not defined or not found. I could say undefined, which, I don't know. I think I'm going to keep it at 0 for now. Script writers will just have to know that, okay, you either can't call it before you have any die rolls whatsoever, or if you do, check for the existence of 0 to make sure that they actually have a die roll. 166. Nice. All right, so let's try this again, because now we have a die roll. 4 and a 3, so let's see if that works. Yeah, so we have our print statement. Print die1 is 4, die2 is 3, and here is our final print. And so we can see how we're having all this debugging information, and we'll probably turn off debugging statements at some point just to clean up the console, but for verifying evaluation is working properly, that works great. So I think we're pretty good. Let me review our code, look at our diff here and see where we're at, but everything seems to be working. So we've added die1 and die2 as our initial system-defined variables. We've linked up the scripting variable reference function to this external variable reference function in our scripting engine. We've written this function to take a username and a var name, switch based on var name, and return the die1, die2 variables that we set aside up above. If we don't find anything, we return null, and we preserve the die value. So just very basic stuff there to preserve the die values and return them if asked from a scripting engine. Then the scripting engine, we've added this new external variable reference function that does nothing other than return null. To have this do anything interesting, you have to overwrite it, and that's what we did in the craps table. So we've done some moving and refactoring here. We've added this eval compound statement function that does the evaluation of compound statements. I think it's the same as what we had before, just moved and renamed maybe. Then we may have added or at least greatly expanded the eval statement function. I think we added it because what we did here, instead of eval statement, we called the process command or whatever it is function. And now we actually have to evaluate the statement first before we process the command, or call process command. Here we have this whole loop to process expressions. We look for these brackets, these curly brackets. And as long as those expressions remain, as long as we have curly brackets that remain, we continue to evaluate them. We look for the start. If the start bracket, if there is one, we look for the end. If the end bracket is less than 0, that means it does not exist. So we complain about that. If the end bracket is less than the start bracket, it means you're seeing a closing bracket but not the opening bracket. So we complain about a missing opening bracket. Then we get our expression. We do a substring based on the positions of the brackets. We do bracket start +1, so we don't get the opening bracket. Then bracket end already does not include the closing bracket as we tested earlier. Then we get the result. We call this eval expression, pass in the expression. If result is null, that indicates a failure to evaluate the expression, so we print out that error and return. Otherwise, well, let's see, we've got some cleanup to do here. Let's do some quick cleanup with this. Where is it? Yeah, I just like having white space after, or blank lines after a compound statement like this here. These I'm fine combining together because they're all kind of, you're working towards the result. And then if result is null, then we do that error. Alright, continuing on with our evaluation. So we've added a little bit of white space here. So if result is null, we fail to evaluate the expression. Otherwise, we do a replacement of the expression inside the statement with the result. And then we log, as a debug message, the expression or the statement after the evaluation, or after the substitution there. But again, we keep looping until we have no more expressions. If we don't have an expression, we do one last check, or if we don't have the start bracket, we do one last check to make sure that we don't have the closing bracket. In fact, let's add some comments here. So check for opening bracket indicating the start of an expression. And then ensure that we have a closing bracket. Ensure that the closing bracket appears after the opening bracket. evaluate the expression. Replace the expression in the statement with the evaluated result. With the result of evaluating the expression. Yeah, let's see, with the evaluation result. And there is no start bracket. Ensure that there is no mismatched closing bracket. So just do one final check. Do one final check to ensure. I'll just keep it simple. Ensure that there is no mismatched closing bracket. So I think I called it opening bracket earlier. Let's see, here we have let's see, my messages say opening and closing when there is no opening, so I think I'll stick with that. There's a mismatch between these terms and my variables. Bracket start, bracket end. Oh, let's see, I could try when there is no start bracket, ensure there is no mismatched end bracket, and then update our messages, mismatched start bracket. We're missing start bracket. Missing opening bracket. No, we're missing our start bracket. Ensure that the end bracket appears after the start bracket. No, I think I like opening and closing better. I think I see why I made this choice originally. Because these are indexes. This is the index. This, in fact, maybe expression end and expression start might be better names than bracket end, bracket start. But I think I do like opening and closing in the names, or the messages and in the comments. Let's try this, see what this looks like. Say bracket start, replace that with expression start. Replace all. We can say bracket end, replace that with bracket expression end, replace all. You could say expression start index, but I think we're okay. I don't think I need to include the word index here. Expression start is equal to the statement index of that. Expression end is equal to that. Expression end less than 0. Yeah, I think those names and statements and comments, or names, messages, and comments work a lot better. I think they're more clear for what we're focusing on. probably want to do some quick testing to make sure I haven't screwed anything up as part of this search replace work. So let's just do some quick tests. Let's see, so we had some... We have our basic case. Let's just make sure our basic good case works. Alright, so we have bet pass max. There's our bet made for 97. Then we print out our expression here, our print statement to the I10, to I20, then bet field max. So all that works. Now we have some kind of error cases to think through. So let's think about our error cases. Let's see, then print broken. Just go with good. Print bad. So let's start with broken. In fact, let's do this here. Pseudo broken with no closing bracket there. Oh, I won a bunch of stuff. Dang. Alright, so we have error, missing closing bracket, but we still do all the betting, so that looks great. Now let's do closing without the opening. Missing opening bracket. And all the other bets are still going here, so that's all fine. And finally, let's do the inverted approach. The closing, opening option. Very single statement, print broken, missing opening bracket. Nice. Yeah, so that looks like a nice, good cleanup. What happened here? Rolled a 6. So I lose my field bet, but my pass is still out there. Alright, so let's take a look here. So we've been working on our eval statement. We've added some comments. We've renamed some of these variables. But everything is still in place here. The same logic is still in place. Yeah, so we do all these substitutions, and assuming we don't run into one of these errors in return, we drop out here, we process the stripping command with the statement with all the substitutions made, and we've seen that that does indeed work. Here we have eval expression. We print out the expression we're evaluating. We look up the variable reference, calling this external variable reference function. If that is null, we say unable to find variable and return null. Otherwise, we'll return the results, and that's all been working. So the eval command, we've changed this. This used to do the compound statement processing inside it. We decided to make that kind of a thin wrapper around this eval compound statement just so that I could have a function name that looked more appropriate. And then still have this function name as kind of a, matching the fact that we're running a command here, eval. Obviously, at some point, once we actually have scripting running, we're going to have a separate location we're going to call eval compound statement. So this is a fine change. because wherever that is, we'll probably just call eval compound statement rather than eval command. I don't know. We'll see. I don't like one-line wrappers, but there is a reason for it. And I'll keep it for the moment. I don't think I've tested what happens if I refer to a variable that doesn't exist yet, now that I've added in all the other variable references. Let's just do a quick test here. For broken, let's just refer to die total here. See, let me get my console up. Yeah, so debug evaluate expression die total, error, unable to find variable die total, error failed to evaluate expression. Evaluate single statement but field max. So yeah, that all looks good. Gosh, I think that is a good commit point. Let's review and or let's come up with a commit message here. Let's see, support, evaluation of system defined variables and expressions. Starting with the die1 and die2 variables. That's too much to put in place there, so let's think about this here. Probably want to put those in quotes. This editor is not as bright as my Atom editor. We add support. We'll keep it the same as the earlier message. Now let's go ahead and commit that. All right, let's think through what is next here. So we have on our list, the ability to do something like this, to do simple arithmetic. 90% of this already works. We can do hello, we can do the die1, die2. This all works already. In fact, let's just bring that up again just to confirm that this still works. And there's our result, die1, 6, die2 is 5. But this does not work. Yeah, so here we're doing the third expression, the evaluate expression die1 plus die2, and we'll define variable die1 plus die2. So the issue here is we simply don't have more complex evaluation. We're basically treating that whole expression as if it's a variable. And so at this point, we need to start adding in more complex parsing and tokenizing to kind of split this stuff out. And this is actually going to begin to look a little bit, in fact, probably a lot like another project I was working on quite a while back. Let me see if I can bring that up here. I'm not seeing it listed. I got too many repositories. Noel Sturman is an interpreter I started building for a custom language, and I forget how far I got here. But I think I might have had some degree of tokenizing and parsing. But yeah, we've got an integer token, a token, plus token. It's all written in Java, so I'll obviously have to rewrite all this for JavaScript. And so here we've got a tokenizer. We check for, I think we can process, let's see, a plus token. We can process digits. So it looks like numbers and plus tokens is as far as I got to. And so to start out with my current project, we want to parse out identifiers, things like, these guys are identifiers referencing a system-defined variable, and plus signs. Those are kind of the two things I'd want to tokenize and process and evaluate. I don't think I'm quite ready to hop into that work right now. There's just a lot to think about, and I've been going for a couple hours already. Check to see if there's anything simple I can work on, because I think I want to save that for a streaming session where I have a little more time to dig into that. That might be something I'll work on next week. Let's see, we've already got the bet command working. We obviously don't have evaluation of these more complex expressions. Programs, we're not quite ready for programs yet. We're close, though. Multiple statements. We've done multiple statements. So the multiple statements I think I'll take off my list here, because that's already done. We have die 1, die 2 working. We could always add more of these variables here, I suppose. We have die total, point, max payout, fire bet allowed. Yeah, so let's look at some of these here real fast. We have die 1, die 2. Let's add in die total. 0. Like the regular dice, that'll be 0 until we actually have a die roll to work with. What else did I say? Point. Well, we already have point. There it is right there. Max payout. I think we have a function that generates that, so I don't think I need to add a variable for that. Fire bet allowed. I'm not sure how to handle that yet. We'll think about that. For these others, let's add some of these others. So I think this is around line 214 or so. Yeah, so we could do this. We can do die total. Return die total. Let's see, we said point. Well, point's easy. Max payout, I think there's a function to get that. Yeah, there it is. What did I call it? Max payout, nice and simple. Return this, get max payout, simple enough. What else did we say? Fire bet allowed. Let's see, so we have some code that checks to see if we can make a fire bet. Call it fire check. Let's just grab this stuff here, because I can't call this function because there's error handling stuff here that is we're not going to want to use. So I think for now, let's just grab the check itself. And we called it what? Well, let's get this prepared. Called it fire bet allowed. And we can say return that and this guy. So a fire point count is greater than 0. We're not allowed to return the fire bet, or we're not allowed to make the fire bet. So we're allowed to make the fire bet if the count is 0 and the point is 0. So if that and that is true, then we can do the fire bet false otherwise. So we could try that. Let's just test that one for now. Craps. Eval. Print. Fire bet allowed, colon. Fire bet allowed. And let's see what that does for us here. Fire bet allowed true. All right. Well, let's do craps bet fire for max. And let's double check, see if we're still allowed to make it. We should still be allowed to make it. It's still true. Now let's say craps roll 2-2 just to have a point. And now that we have a point, that should be false. Excellent. Now let's hit that point. Craps roll 1-3 to hit that point. Firebyte allowed false. So we don't have a point any longer, but we also have one fire point that's been made. So let's just build in a complex statement here that handles all of these variables. So we have die1, die2, die total now works because I've added the that variable. Let's see here. Let's just make it a comma. What else do we got? So die1, die2, die total point. Max payout. And finally, Firebyte allowed. Let's just grab this guy. Make sure that all of these work. Unable to find variable may payout. That's because I typoed it. Let's fix my typo. Not may payout, but max payout. So we have die1, 5, die2 is 3, die total is 0. Okay. So I need to not only add that to my my class, but I need to actually set it. Let's go fix that. Let's see, so we should set die1 and die2 somewhere. Here we go. Nope, not quite there yet. Almost there. Almost there. Apparently I use this variable name a lot. Right, here we go. Preserve the die values, and we say this dot die total is equal to let's see. Print out the role, then let's preserve the role. Preserve the die values. Process bits. That should work. So let's try this one more time. Now we got this ongoing point stuff going on here. What's going on? The point was made. Fire points for 8. We establish another point of 8. Now let's just stop this. It'll be too much work to figure out what the heck's going on. Alright, so die1, 0, die2, 0. So max payout. Must rely on the banker existing. And that's returning the internal number. We probably want to convert that to our user-facing number by dividing it by 100. Divide by 100. Let's go We'll give that a try. Surprised it started making bets here. Ah, because I have the bet pass max. Okay, let's remove that from my statement. Because I don't want to have the complication of bet being made as part of this. I'm just testing, printing out information. We got that. Let's test our statement here. All right, so die 1, 0. Max payout is 100. Not sure what's happening with max payout. Because we don't have a banker any longer, so why is that returning 100? Get banker balance. Alright, what does get banker balance? Return this, get balance, get banker. This banker. Get balance. Well, banker is going to be null. Oh, crap. Let's see here. Craps. Bet hop 1-1. Actually, I don't need that. Craps roll 3-4. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Craps roll 3-4. We'll just do a simple roll here. And what I'm going to have is some junk in my player's data file for null now. Nope. Yeah, so I've screwed up my player's data file. Yeah, I've got a null reference in here. Okay, so that was a good test. So what we need to do is, if we're getting the banker balance and we have no banker, we really should have a banker before we call get banker balance. So can we do like a check banker type thing? Check banker. Yeah, let's call check banker as part of get banker balance. Just so we are ensured to have a banker before we get there. Let's just see any other references to this .banker that might be affected by similar issues. So check banker. Okay, well that's obviously correct there. Probably want to do the equals 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 check on that. Get banker balance. Yeah, so we have the check there, so we're fine. Process bets. Pretty sure we can't get here without a banker. Select the next banker. Well, now we're picked in the next banker. Set it to null. This not banker is equal to that, so that should be fine. This not banker not equal null. We should do the check with no conversion like we've done elsewhere. Let's see, banker command, banker stop command. So banker is equal to your name. Record balance, we got available balance. Yeah, so we're getting available banker balance. That call is get banker balance and has the checks. Banker command. Add that more elaborate check there. If it doesn't equal username, or if it does equal username, you're the banker. If it includes username, you're the banker queue. Setting it. Checking his username. Send it to null. Bet command. Banker cannot bet. Yeah, so I think that's a good set of checks. Basically, we found one issue where we get the banker balance that this was not doing the check. So from what I've seen, that's the only place where that check was not done. So that should be it. Let's try this one more time. Die 1, 0, die 2, 0, die total 0, point 0, max payout is a real number. Fire bet allowed is true. So all those are working now. And since we did call the banker check, we did go through this process, but we shouldn't be rolling automatically because we didn't place a bet. So in the meantime, let's look at other possible variables to include here. So I've handled die total, point, max payout, fire bet allowed. All those are good. No more global craps variables. Per user craps variables. Balance delta is a little bit challenging, but I think I could do balance pretty easily. Yeah, so let's look up balance. Case balance. Return this dot get big balance for username. Let's divide that by 100 as well. And add that to our list. It just occurred to me we have a potential bug or issue here because we have really dumb evaluation, in that if we have spaces in these, that'll cause it to fail as well. Let's do the good case, and then I'll test that, that bad case and see what happens here. See, I need to bounce this because I just added the balance command. Balance 10432. And yes, that is correct. We do divide it by 100, but since there's no fractional part, we're just treating that as a float at this point. Because we're not going to try to format these for anything, because the intent is for these variables to be used in terms of scripting, and so it's not really a display issue, but a kind of evaluation issue. So we want to keep them as, you know, their true types, floating points in this case. So let's do a quick roll. Perhaps roll 6-6. And just test everything again here. So die 1 6, die 2 6, die total 12.0. So maybe we'll set a point next. Max payout's the same. Fire bet allowed true. Balance is that. So let's say craps roll 4. Actually, just do 5, 4, so we can reverse the normal order of those dice. Established. I think that's the rest of the output. So we have die 1 is 5, die 2 is 4, die total is 9, point is 9, max payout is the same, firebit allowed is false because we have a point now, and balance is still the same. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good there. Fix that broken case because we've now added that variable. Yeah, so let's take a look at what we got here. We have the per user craps variables. We've done balance. Balance delta, I think I'm going to save that for a later time. I'm going to think about that a bit more. I think that is a good amount of work on the variables. And in fact, what I think I'm going to do is update my commit message. Just update my earlier commit and just include all of this in that same commit. In fact, I'm going to have so many variables here. Well, let's see how many we got. We have die 1, die 2, die total. And I don't think we need quotes any longer, so we got rid of the other junk. Point, oops, point. Max payout. Firebit allowed. And balance. And yeah, there's enough of them that it splats over a single line, so let's just make this a more elaborate commit message here. Yeah, so let's just grab all of this. Let's look at my git status here. So we've updated the list of variables, we've kept die 1, die 2, we've added die total, point, max payout, firebit allowed, and balance. We've done some minor changes to our code for checking for nulls. The recommendation was to do this or a equality comparison with no type conversion. That's what the equals 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 means in JavaScript, is type comparison or equality comparison with no conversion, no type conversion. We found a bug with get banker balance where if we did not have a banker, it started adding a null to my my data structures, which caused things to break. We needed to reorder this a little bit, so we moved those down below to the point where we have die total. Added another fix to the equality check here and here. Otherwise, it's all the same. So let's do git add git commit dash dash amend. And let's replace those messages with my new message. Let's make sure that that did work. So we have our evaluation of multiple statements, that's still the same, and then we have our work here. And yep, so that it combined both commits into the one original commit, so that's great. That's what I wanted. Felt kind of silly to do two separate commits for adding all those variables. We'll just add all the ones that are easy right now, and we'll do separate commits for the more difficult ones in the future. Looks good. I think that's it. So we have those two commits. We haven't pushed them yet. As I said before, I like to avoid pushing commits right away, just so if I do come up with a fix or something I want to fix up or change, I still have the ability to do so. Once you push, it's kind of bad form to amend a commit because you have to do a force push afterwards, and that's no good. Alright, so let's look at what else we got going on here. So we've done that. We could drop my message. Yeah, so we got a few more system-defined variables to add, but those are more complicated. You know, the init one, that's when we have programming going or scripting going. The per user or the balance delta, that's just going to require a little more work to think through, and I'm not going to add that till I need it. User defined, we're not there yet. I don't want to add any more bets yet. Changing bets, that's a pretty big task. Keep buy and place bets around after the win, that's a big task. Turn bets on and off is a big task. Craps ready, craps stop. Some of this issue here, if the bot crashes before the player's JSON file is written, the file gets corrupted. I don't have a solution to that yet. How to document maximum loss since it's configurable, I'm still thinking about that. Yeah, this is an interesting one. We get an extra line break in the console window when players.json does not exist. So let's go look at this real fast. This might be a simple thing to resolve. So let's just bounce the bot. We have a players.json file, and we see we have the leaderboard. And then if I do a command here, like say craps bet any 7 for max, that shows up right away on that first line. We see all the output, blah, blah, blah. As soon as that's done, I'll bounce the bot with no players JSON. So let's move players JSON to players JSON.back and then run the bot again. You get unable to read, followed by a line break, and then if I do another command, perhaps bet any 7 for max, you have that line break there. So where does that line break come from is the question I want to be answering here. Let's just look for the code and see where that statement comes in. Oh, well, that seems pretty obvious. There it is. Let's see if we can make that go away. There it is. And then if I place my bet again, craps bet any 7 for max. Looks good. I think that's nice and simple. Don't know why it had that extra line break there. I think the theory might have been that it felt like that message just kind of got lost with all of the other kind of debugging messages. But since we've changed our debugging logging and we no longer have all those extraneous debugging logging, I think the line break no longer makes sense. So I think that's fine. Get status. Oh, let's move players.json.back to players.json. Oops. Oh, crap. I didn't mean to remove it. I meant to move it. Oh, well, it's gone now. I wonder if I have an earlier version of that line around. I don't. It's all gone. Well, I can rebuild it, I think. That would be the last data that we had. Let's run the bot. We did get rid of that file. Ugh, dumb. I meant to move it, not remove it. Let's place a quick bet to just we'll get my thing in there and get the banker in there. So craps bit. That doesn't really matter. That's why hop 1-1. Craps roll 1-1. Oops. They should still actually solve it actually without causing any payouts. Except I haven't bet yet. Craps balance. That should cause it to come up and then say craps roll 1-1. Cool, there we go. Now I should be able to update this file. So key test had what? 9636. And I had 10432. That should be enough to rebuild it. And test, I think, was just at test 1 was at 10,000, so that's the default, so I'll leave him out. There, 10432 and 9636. Perfect. All right, back to our get status here. Should have just this one file that's been touched. We'll do a git diff. And yeah, just removed extra line break. Removed extra. Remove blank line in console output. Player's data file is not found. Missing. There we go, that'll fit. I just like to have that fit on one, I think around 70 characters or so. Oh, Frosty, hey, I just saw your chat message. Sorry if you've been waiting a while, I just checked and saw it there. I'm not sure how long it's been there. How's it going? Trying to check chat regularly, but sometimes I get busy and I don't always check it, so I do apologize if you've been waiting a long time for me to see your message there. Let's see, let's commit this guy. So now we're behind or ahead by 3 commits. You're not responding, so I may have waited too long to notice your message. I try to be better about checking that. Just I sometimes get focused on what I'm working on and will sometimes miss those messages. That's too bad. Okay, so we fixed that issue. That was a nice, simple issue. We're trying to exceed our max odds bet. Bet shows the maximum odds amount, but not the maximum possible. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you're just typing a long message. You're doing good, just a bit tired from yesterday's drinking out with the guys. The top dog has its downsides. I can't turn a challenge down when you lose by default. Oh no. This sounds pretty intense. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm definitely a little tired as well. I was up with my friends playing some board games on Friday night, and then playing board games again yesterday. So there's a lot of human interaction. They say the music is quite high. I have it at -10. Are you able to? Are you not able to hear me clearly? And the ducking doesn't really help. It helps, just not good enough. Well, I've been messing with my personal volume settings of my voice. I may have bumped that down accidentally. Let me bump that up and see what this does. And my voice will probably be higher. Hopefully it's not too high. Does that help, or is it still not enough? Of course, the music's quieter now as well, so that may not make much of a difference. It's much better now. Okay. I think, unfortunately, I've brought that up to the point that my voice might peak. So I'm going to bring my voice back down to where it was. And I'm going to bring the music down, and hopefully that will be sufficient. See, I brought the music down to 15.1. Does that help? See if I can get that to an exact 15 here. What a pain. This bar doesn't let me set it to an exact -15. Suppose if I do this, bring my window over both monitors, I'm able to make it work here. If I do this, you're going to see the preview, and it's going to look a little crappy. So let's. But I'll stick with 15.1. I'll fix that later when I'm not on stream. See, Frosty says, I mean, I can also lower my volume if we're too high, and if you were to spike, I have my overblown protection. The music could down to maybe 10 to 12 or -20. Well, the issue with me spiking is that it distorts my voice, and it's not good for the stream. So I definitely don't want to have my voice peak, because that's just going to be a lot of bad stuff. Could try -20. -20 is way down there. How does that sound? Is that are you able to still hear the music at this point, or is it just so low as to just be pointless? And I can still hear the music, but my music volume is completely independent of what you guys hear. And it's tough for me to do tests without... Yeah, I certainly can't do these tests on stream. I'd have to do like a local recording, play that back, or a video on demand and play that back. Well, I think what I'll do, I'll leave it at -20 for now. I'll play with it a bit more off stream, see if I can get it to hear us. See, Frosty says the music is down to background music level, so if you want to be balanced, it should be -17 to 18. Well, let's give that a try here. So I got it set to -17, so how does that compare? So in the meantime, while we're working through this, I'll just continue to play with the bot a little bit. I think now's a good time to experiment and make sure that the bot is still working just fine. You say negative 18 is probably perfect, so negative 17 is still just a little too loud. All right, let's give negative 18 a try. Of course, the music is going quiet while I'm doing this. So I can't hit negative 18, but I can do negative 18.1. So that's negative 18.1. Once the music kicks up again, we'll give that another try. Over here, I'm trying to give my money to our banker, our queued test banker. I'm making the NE7 bet that is one of the worst bets in the game. Has a horrible house edge, but I keep winning it. So it's tough for me to give my money to the banker here. So in the meantime, while we're looking at music volume issues, if anybody wishes to play with the bot as well, you can do so. It is not in the main stream chat, it is inside the Craps chat room. To get there, you click on this rooms drop down up a right-hand corner of chat, click on Craps, and that'll bring you to the Craps room. And anyone here is welcome to also play with the Craps bot and help me test it and just experiment and see what works, what doesn't work. If you do need help with Craps, you can issue the Craps help command to get a link to the player guide. That'll tell you how to play Craps, how to work with the bot. Haven't heard any feedback about the music, so I'm guessing minus 18.1 is at least good enough, and I can tweak that a bit on my own. Of course, one of the problems I ran into with Pretzel is some of the music is loud and some of it is not so loud. And so if a soft song comes on, it might be a little too quiet, but I want to kind of target the loudest music, because I definitely want to make sure you guys are able to hear me. So I definitely appreciate the feedback. You indicate 18, minus 18 is perfect. You can hear the music, but you're still more prominent. So cool. Thank you for the feedback. I will go with minus 18. And to make it a nice round number, I'll try to make it a minus 18.0. It's an 18.1 right now, so I'll just make a note here. Where to put this? Say, update music volume to negative 18.0. Just because I like those nice round numbers, it's easier to kind of document rather than 18.1 or whatever random value OBS comes up with. I'll just make that note for later. Oh, cool. So again, thank you for your feedback there. Definitely very helpful. In terms of work to do here, I think I'm pretty good for the moment. I've worked on evaluation of multiple statements, worked on evaluation of system-defined variables, and then did a simple remove blank line and output when player's data file is missing. Everything else I want to do is kind of a little more lengthy, and I just don't have time right now. I've got some other things I want to do today. And so I think at this point I'm going to wrap it up. I do plan to stream every Sunday at 9 a.m. I'll bring out my stream schedule here real fast. Actually, before I wrap up, let me do a quick push. All my code is available on GitHub, so if you do want to check that out, here I'll go send you a link real fast. There it is, available on github.com/qpixel/twitchcrapsbot. This is my stream schedule. I have a regular Sunday stream. Sunday mornings started at 9 a.m. My time zone is United States Pacific Time, UTC minus 0700. I do sometimes stream during the week, weekday afternoons and evenings. But I can't predict my schedule during the week, so it's tough for me to commit to an exact weekday schedule. Fraji says, sorry, when I hit backspace, I usually go too high and hit like the inspect F12 or full screen, so that's why it could take some time between answers. It takes an obscene amount of time to properly load because SSDs are old and dying. Oh no. Oh, no worries. And I understand there's a bit of a stream delay as well that'll delay responses, so we'll do what we can. No worries, I definitely appreciate you chatting and your feedback on the volume levels. That definitely helps. So yeah, so back to my wrap up here. My next definite schedule stream will be Sunday, July 7th, starting at 9 a.m. I might stream during the week. Probably not this week. There's the 4th of July holiday and a few other things, so my schedule's probably going to be pretty crappy this week. But July 7th will definitely be my next planned stream. Thank you for checking me out today, and I will see you guys next time. And again, Frosty, thank you very much for the feedback with the volume. That does help. It is tough to catch that while I'm streaming, so definitely appreciate the feedback. And I'll catch you next time.